Brendan C. Adams here, CEO and co-founder of Big Brand Adventures. And this week is an interview with Silva and Greg Rollett, who, funny enough, going back in time, were my original hosts for Ambitious Adventures. Ended up being just Greg and I. Los and I have stayed in touch and have become good friends. So Greg, Los, and I sat down. I mean, this history in the making 8 years ago. Sat down for an interview that you will want to check out here. And we just have a conversation about scaling businesses, media, content, everything else. So let's jump right into it.
Purchase that like I ever made, right? And it was like, I think it was 35 grand for the domain name. But on day one, you had credibility that like, if it was like ambitiouslifestyle.net.
You did it because you did work with it. I owned outsource.com and affiliatemarketing.com, and I did nothing with them. I had to sell them back, and I owned them. It's a long story because like a lot of work that didn't get done through partnerships and things like that, but I owned them, and I was like, I knew what to do with them, but I didn't take action, which is something that is true. Like you nailed it. Like you got ambitious.com.
Well, but then I also
did something with it.
I did something with it, and I also became for a period of time.
Became a part of your thing.
Well, I became Mr. Ambitious.
It has to be.
I was like, I was the ambitious
guy. So what
guy.
did you do? Did somebody else was using the affiliatemarketing.com?
No, I bought affiliatemarketing.com and I bought affiliate marketing on Insta. 6-figure deals that I bought, and we were going to do these things, but I had a partnership, and they didn't do their side. And so I couldn't put in the time and effort to do my side. And then I was going to keep outsource.com, and I had given up a lot on a transition that I made. Those were part of it, and I was like, I can keep that, but then I'd have to start that or find someone to white label and all that.
So you had to let it go.
It would have turned into a business, and before it was leverage from what we had, but when I gave all,
and it probably would have become a business you didn't want.
Correct. Well, it's right now, like, you know, I've done, and I'm sure you're a lot like this. We're all like this. I've done. When you start, you say yes to everything, and then when you get good at stuff, you're like, no, I'm good, and then you realize, okay, I can do a little more, and then now I'm at a place like I have two things. I buy and focus on media companies and helping people build media companies for growth. Yep. And then I buy companies and in the home service sector specifically, and like we buy them like private equity and scale them and sell them. That's it for me for the foreseeable future. And
that's your niche. That's what you focus on.
They're my two niches. One leverages my skill sets on internet marketing. One leverages my passion of what I believe is the biggest thing in the world, which is media. And I get to be more like playground style and like really be good at what I'm actually good at. I'm good at deal making. I'm good at structure. I'm good at like understanding. Oh, you need like Legos. Like you need this to this to this. I can see it and I know what's missing and I can put that together. And I know what I'm not going to do and who to put in there to do it. And in those scenarios, I act in my 10,000 hours, and I can increase my 10,000 hours, and all I'm trying to do is get to 50,000 hours instead of like a new 10,000.
Let me ask you, so if that's your one thing, your focus, what is your goal with the one thing to do with that? Like, are you looking to scale the whole agency model for your own company?
I don't have an agency anymore. No. So I've got rid of my agency. So we have a private equity group. Okay. So we'll buy, like we just bought 7 companies right now. Can't say a ton of stuff on it because we're on camera, but bought 7 companies in home services. We're going to roll them up. That's getting us to a 8-figure EBITDA. We're going to run that for about 18 months, sell it in 24. We have 2 more on the back of that in the same sector.
Can I go into depth with this?
Yeah, we can.
When you did the deals, did you do where you took over and basically gave the CEO, hey, we'll pay you a nice retainer?
No, they're not creative finance deals. We bought 60% of the company, and then the rest of it.
Okay, so you didn't buy it all out. Okay, so you gave them cash for the equity.
Yeah.
Okay, and they stayed on.
Yes.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, so 60%, this you might want to cut 60% payout, 20% earn-out, 20% stock for the next buyout. So they're a part of the next one already as investors. So normally you'll run a 220 fund, right, which is only good for your LPs, kind of, because you're not making a ton of money either. With us, we're calling it a 528 because that's the name of our company. So we're working with the company founders, right? And so you're getting money. We're growing this. We're almost like a conglomerate, like joint venture situation.
How do you find those deals? Why that ideal person company?
Content marketing, bro.
Just the videos you put out that I watch, he watches?
Like putting it out and shaking more hands in person and making more content online.
Yeah.
but it's dialed, focused things.
Which is literally your business
Yeah,
right now.
similar. Create
It's like
content.
you create content.
Have it come to
You
us.
bring people into live events
Yep.
where you shake their hands.
I believe that we're getting into a place where if you want to make real money, it's getting back to old money, which is let's get together, let's shake hands,
100%.
know, like, and trust, break bread, get to know each other. And I get you there through content and media, but I close you through who I am as a person. And I also get to choose if I don't want to work with you by getting to know you in person as well.
So the content is what kind of is, you break the barrier. When
Yeah.
they meet you, it's like they already know you.
Yeah.
And then they really get to know you, and then it's more likely to turn into a partnership.
Yeah, so Google actually has this thing, I'm going to butcher it, but it's like the 0 point of trust. They actually put it out. You can Google it, something similar, like you'll see it. It takes 7 times for someone to see you. Nowadays, it takes 4 channels for them to see you in to convert. And so
Interesting.
now we're focusing on YouTube,
Yep.
YouTube Shorts, Instagram, and lead magnets, right?
Yep.
And if we can do that consistently, I can average out more times on long form and get to like understand like my concepts and mindset and frameworks rather than like on top of funnel, like quickly brings you to long version. Long version gets you and stays and shows know, like, trust and like skill. And then lead magnet gives you.
So what's the funnel system?
Initial
Okay,
offer.
we create content. All of us create content online. I'm curious in your system. You're in a different business than them. So when people see all your videos, or let's say you have ads going, they go into the opt-in. Do you have them schedule a call, or are they going into your email drip? Like, what is that next step?
It
Or-
depends what you're trying to do. No one's really trying to do what I think people like you and I are trying
'Cause
to
I
do.
spend a lot of money on paid advertising.
Well, but also both of your leads are different, right? Like you're not trying to sell a $49 course. You're also not trying, in this instance, you're not trying to sell the home service.
I sell
You're trying to get a lead
$100,000
for
consulting
right.
for one-on-one, and I sell you coming to an event. If you fit the mark, you get equity. For me to get equity in your business, and that's it. And for the most part, I don't sell anything else because I already have the things I'm doing, right? And I obviously
so you're doing kind of consulting for equity, or are you putting capital for the equity?
both, right? Both scenarios. So my guy's not on an ad because my guy that sees an ad, and I've spent $700 million on ads. The guy that sees the ad, you're going through a conversion rate of no, yes. So if you actually probably break down your conversions, it's probably a $3,000 to $4,000 cost of acquisition, right?
Yep.
Because you're so many no's. If you stop spending the money, and I'm a media buyer, like from the beginning, right? If you stop spending the money and start investing it in the conversations, you're going to get a faster acquisition of who you want because they already know that they're a fit for you. Now you get to pick that. Instead, we're asking them to pick us. And in this world, we're not in the attention economy anymore. We're in the trust economy. Attention economy is an economy of like spending money on media and achieving a result through conversion, right? And that's like marketing, like direct response, like to the T. That doesn't work the same anymore. They're smarter, they're different. We're not hitting boomers. We're hitting millennials. We're hitting Gen Z, and then we're going to hit Gen Alpha. And so we're really talking to Gen Z nowadays. You know, maybe some boomers, but mostly.
What is Gen Z age?
We're talking to millennials. Millennials are 40 to 20, I think like 3. And then like 22 down is like Gen Z, and then like my daughter is Gen Alpha.
Okay.
Right? We're not talking to them yet, but we're talking to millennials. Millennials are the boomer nowadays, so to speak, right? And so that's too smart of a guy. That's too smart of a person. They're also educated. They're also conceited. They're also like different. It's a different pattern. They understand different. They're not as fast.
Yeah.
And so spending money on them, they have hesitation. Giving them content, they build a relationship. And so spending more money on a longer term opportunity for conversion creates a moat around your business because it's more expensive to do so, but it's a stronger conversion at scale than it is to spend more money.
So I want to talk about this. So obviously I agree, right? Because I think that the person that watches whoever, right? That I'm much more committed to that person because now I'm raising my hand saying, I watch all of Brandon's stuff, now I want to work with him versus seeing an ad and not being tricked, but being, you know, whatever the offer is, right? So, because you do almost the same thing, just in a different niche, which is you create a ton of content, you run ads on the back of that content
as retargeting.
And to get more people to get more reach. And then you're doing the same thing. Your lead magnet is an event right now for one of your businesses, right?
Yeah.
It has to be.
You're getting people into a room.
We're sending, they schedule a call on the calendar, and honestly, the best deals happen where they don't show up and then they just call up the lead. And so we have a sales team nonstop. We're sending thousands of leads and we're spending money, and they find the gems in the rough. And you're going to go through the bad leads.
So that was my offer when I had the e-commerce. We'd buy and scale and sell your e-commerce company, and I still do some of that, but it's more like if you find me. When we came into what we're doing today, that didn't make sense because we don't need the volume, right? But that's what I would be doing. Nonetheless,
but
they're going to be qualified to go in the room.
But also the people that get on the phone with them, they know his partner and they know him. They know their faces, right? They want to work with them because of the media.
They're already
right, but they don't want to work with you because you're like famous.
No,
they want to work with you
with the result
because you've provided enough content showing that you don't need to be famous. You're what they're looking for.
Yep, that is true. Yes,
right. Like fame isn't important. Like I really believe that like that's why UGC works so well, right? Influencer marketing used to be the thing. I've sold 4 companies building influencer marketing things. I couldn't do it anymore. UGC is the thing. It's random people, and people going back to trust. People don't care that he was on Shark Tank. That's cool, but they see what he's done afterwards, and that's like wow. They're like, he doesn't even need Shark Tank. And then they see you and they're like, wow, this guy went from here to here.
Yeah.
And you probably retargeted testimonials and you email content marketing. Right. And so they're like, I can't I call it perpetual propaganda, right? Like you love your mother and your father because they're always around you. When you move to Jersey to go to college and they're living in Orlando, there's a discrepancy of like, are you coming to Thanksgiving? I don't know. Like you talk less, you do less. Your best friend lives in Jersey and then you move to Chicago. That's your closest friend, but your best friend lives in Chicago. And because he's right, it's impressions. So if we can create impressions, just like media tells us who to vote for and tells us what to believe in and what to not believe in, we can create a faster approach to a conversion. And so that's propaganda. And if we can create it consistently, it's perpetual. So perpetual impressions based on content, value, and trust sent to you on an equal, like specific flow as a funnel. It's a longer funnel, but it's a quicker funnel than guessing. I'll put them in a group and I'll do this and I'll kind of do it when I have time. Build a long Pixel Burns does this, does this, does this, does this, email this, by the same time this. Man, like you're everywhere, bro. No, I'm not. I'm everywhere to people like you that watched this video, that did this, that did that, that got this email. I trust you. I know you. I feel like you're my brother. I know.
I did that on purpose.
Happen. Yeah, right.
It's like I think you've heard me talk about this a lot. Dunbar's law, right? So this goes back to like tribalism, right? There was about 100 people that would like live in a tribe, and your brain can only have a real relationship with ballpark 100 people at a time. And so the people that you spend the most time with start to occupy those 100 spots. And so I used to talk about this a lot with like Joe Rogan. His episodes are like forever, right? Let's say they're 3 hours a piece and 3 episodes a week. Let's just ballpark math because I'm not good at it. That's 9 hours a week. I don't talk to my wife for 9 hours of full conversation a week. So Joe Rogan starts to occupy that space in your mind. So back to that perpetual, always in perpetuity is like, well, if I see Brandon's video in the morning when I open Instagram, and then at lunchtime I open YouTube and he's there again, and then in the afternoon I get an email from him, like if your wife only sent you one text message today, like Brandon's taking up more space in that. And that's the power of media. And then all of a sudden, you're right, like you see it over time, it's good value. Man, I'm learning stuff, I'm getting good stuff. Like, I just need to work with this guy.
What if you sat down and said, what do we want them to see? What do we want them to know? You know? And then you made that a longer funnel. You determine the narrative.
You're the one that determines what they see and what the story is.
That they are looking for in their head to close what you want. And then it becomes back to you, because I'm sure that you went probably like COVID and even before COVID, why should you work with us? And now it has become like, why should I work with you? The narrative has flipped because the trust has gone away. But if you reassess the trust by telling the story that they're looking for, you've solved the problem. And you can even tell them, you know why you're here, right? I put you here. Did you see this video, this video, this video? Did you think this, this, this? Do you want to do that for your company?
I like the part you said, and we do this too. It's like, pitch me and tell me why we should be working together, because we only have so much time. If we're going to spend our time, why is my time going to be of value beyond the money? The money's easy.
That's why you have to do personal events, because I don't do business with anyone that I don't want at my house, and I can't get that from a phone call.
So let's go into the personal events, because we've all done a lot of events. What is your process of, people sell events, people have different closing rates and enrollment. What's your enrollment process of how you get people to get into your world, or you invite them?
We have an event September 13th. We're not even going to get a link of this. We're already filled out. But we have an event September 13th for people that are doing 1.5 million minimum gross revenue in home services that want to learn how to acquire other companies, be acquired, or be a part of a roll-up. That's it. If that's not an interest of you, not interested in having it.
Fine-tuned.
Yeah, we're looking for 25 people. After that, we're completely done. It's going to be here. It's going to be an intensive here, and then after that, you get another 3 weeks of like what we promised here, and then we'll sell another 6 months of getting you optimized for what we're going to promise here.
Can we go into the actual specifics of the funnel process? So,
Yeah.
what do they pay to? How are they qualified?
So, I'm telling you. So this is the flow, and then how we create it is we just shot this. We shot 3 videos. We shot a video on the opportunity, the scarcity, the reminder, and the content of trust. Like, this is what we're doing. This is why we're doing it, is the second video. This is the opportunity, is the first. If you're interested, apply. Not interested, we send another email and retarget back to the concept. This is what we're doing right now.
So it was email, an email list you guys already have.
Email, social media, text messaging.
And then, okay, when they do apply, does somebody go through the applications and they call them?
Yes.
And then you have a sales team that calls them?
No, we call them personally because it's so small. We used to have salespeople, but because of the like what we're looking for here, like I said, it's become a lot smaller for us. We personally, me and this guy Jason, who are the owners of that call, because we want to know, and we will have an overflow, and that's it.
How long call is it?
Man, I can tell you in 2 minutes if we're gonna close or it's a done call. I will shut the call down in 5 minutes if in the first 2 minutes I know you're not a fit, and normally it's about 11 to 40 minutes max if they have questions because they have like a wife or something.
Okay, so let's say they're ready to do it. What is that next step? Do they buy the ticket right on the phone?
They buy on the phone.
Okay, what's the ticket cost?
$25,000.
Okay, $25,000 for
4 weeks.
4 weeks?
An event and 3 more weeks.
Okay, so they buy, they come here, they spend a day. What do you guys do for the day?
So we spend a day, basically we cater everything, and then for the people that want to join more, we go to a private dinner, and that day we give you hand manuals that you can take home. We share what we're doing. We share scalability systems on like basically a process called scale, which is your strategy, your content, your ascension, your leverage, which is your people, your ascension is your upsells and your joint ventures, and then your exit. And exit means, do you want to exit or do you want to exit as an entrepreneur and have freedom? Right?
So you help them get clarity of what they actually want.
And show them the systems statistically with what we're doing in companies that are like theirs today. Because a big thing that a lot of people do, and you should really be wary about this in my opinion, is everyone sells you, yeah, I'm doing this and this. You did this 6 years ago. What are you doing today?
It's not relevant now.
Like today, you can walk into a 6,000 square foot office. You can look at our 7 companies in home services. We can show you what we're doing. We can show you what's working. We can show you the CRMs. We can, and that is value that I believe you should be looking for in someone you want to trust. Because if you're like, yeah, here's a screenshot of this and that, like I can't talk about more. You can sign an NDA, but like I'll tell you everything right now. I'll pull up.
You got the real life data because things are always changing.
And I want you to trust me, not because I need your money or you should buy me. I want you to trust somebody that's in the mix right now. And we've always made our money in the mix. Like when I did the e-commerce stuff, we owned e-commerce companies. I sold e-commerce companies. I wasn't like, I did this and now you can. Like I was doing it still. So I had real-time data.
So four weeks in, what happens at the end of the 4 weeks, and how do you determine what happens next?
At the end of the 4 weeks, it's your decision to decide to extend with us into, hey, we're really going to optimize your culture, your team, your processes, your CRM, your financials, your P&Ls, and optimize you for us to buy you or to give you to someone else. We have brokers that we can send you over to.
So you ultimately try to put them in a position where they want to sell to you or
that is why you're coming in, period.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so they already know they're going to potentially give you
yeah. So
40% equity.
in the video, no, in the video, we're like, listen, this is if you want to sell or be a part of this or this, and you know, we talk on the phone about what that costs. And the second phase, we take a percentage, and when we buy you out, if we do buy you out, if we sell you to somebody, we'll take that percentage. If we buy you out, and we take the percentage of that included. So like we're buying like. In this essence, basically, we make it cheaper for ourselves to buy you out.
See, this is interesting. You do it in the home service space. I mean,
I've done it in e-commerce too.
Yeah.
I just like home services more because it cash flows. E-commerce.
It does cash flow.
I just get the money when I optimize you for the sale and I sold it. So it takes a lot of time because e-commerce is a checking account. It's not a savings account. Like it's running through.
Right. Because you need more inventory, and as you grow, you need more inventory, and you need more inventory, you need more cash, and then
I've worked with companies that are doing $1 million a month
Yep.
and need a loan. I don't do that over here, and I'm like, man, what do I want for myself? Again, you should start analyzing this. And we're all older. We've played this game for a long time. I used to be like, what do I want for the mastermind to let you know who I am? And that narrative built my business. Now I'm like, this is what I want for my family, for myself, and for my time. And so it changed. And some people, I have friends that tell me like, yo, you don't put content out like that. You know, people think you're falling off. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. Like,
You're choosing what you want
Dude,
to be known.
You don't fuck my wife. You're not one of my best friends. You don't pay my bills at the supermarket. Think what you think.
Yeah.
What I'm not going to do is revert back to wanting to compete with you because I think it matters to people that don't matter to me.
Yeah.
What I used to do is that. And if you actually self-assess this, all of us have done this. You're probably doing this. And it's okay. It happens because we wanted $10,000 a month. We got it. And then we wanted 50, and then 100, and then we got it. And then it was gross, now it's net. And then we wanted net, and then we got that. And then we bought groups, and we bought this. And we wanted to be like him, and like him, and like that. What we've lost is why we did this, what we want, and who we are. And if you reassess, you go, whoa, I could take less and be happier. Because for me, it's about my girls, it's about my wife, it's about my best friends, and it's about being with people that I want to like come here and work and like feel challenged and to like express like that I'm good at something and allowing me to dive in on more of the 10,000 hours that I already think I'm good at and like have a vibe. And that'll
figured out what most people never figure out.
That'll equal the money that it equals. I don't have a billionaire like any, but it'll equal me being consistently having money and happy as hell.
Yeah.
And I'm cool with it.
What's interesting about this dynamic is I fall more in line with what he's talking about, but you and I have talked a lot about you do have, which is fine. And the cool thing
totally
is,
fine.
there's not one way. There's your way.
But it's your decision.
Yeah.
It's no longer a decision that you made. You know what I'm saying? We've made decisions for other people to feel like we matter.
Right. But now
it's your decision.
Oh, that was a big part of my life.
Now you're you're testing yourself, and that's cool because you're challenging yourself. That's different. That's
right. Most people, what drives people is they want to prove something to themselves or somebody, their father,
so they can achieve that.
Their worthiness.
I matter.
Their
worthiness.
Their high school buddies that they were worthy, or the bullies,
and
or the cheerleaders.
It drives some people to a route of like, why did I even do that? Because I didn't give a shit about that.
It drives people to misery.
Right, it's shallow
and confusion.
But I do think, and I do want you to speak on this a little bit, is like you almost have you want to build something big. You want to hit that $1 billion status. You have these.
I'm in a totally different space than you guys. I don't have kids. I have no intention to have kids. I'm married, happily married, 34 years old. But like, knowing that, I realized, okay, I'm not going to have a family.
I would have completely different decisions if I wasn't married with kids.
Yeah.
And so I totally respect
and that's okay.
Totally okay. But the reason I respect what you're deciding to do is because I know you well. You're finding the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
You're not working to show a version of you that someone else wants to accept no longer.
I'm going for the best version of me.
And we've done this. You know what I mean? We've done
the
this.
mind fuck of this is like I do. I'm in the mission to build $1 billion company, but in that process of mine, is okay. Once I get to the billion,
What's next?
What's next?
And did that fulfill me in the way that I really wanted it? Yeah.
Because you constantly go for the mission, you go for the goal, then okay, I got the goal, then okay, that was it. I told you this first time, oh, let's win Emmys. You win an Emmy, okay, what's next? You do this, what's next?
And I told you that. I got one. And the next day no one cared.
Yeah.
Right?
But I think it's along the way.
Why do you want the billion?
So it's interesting. It's, for me, what you told me before, you said, it's you proving to yourself what you can do. It's me proving that I'm able to do it, to show what is possible with my own abilities. And so it's like a challenge. It's not even about the money. Yeah, money is great, but it's like, hey, I think I have this potential.
It's getting to know that version of you.
Yeah, I think I have this potential. How can I push the limits of who I am to achieve this thing? And in this case, a monetary value. But it's
because it is still a scoreboard. Right? Like that's what money is.
I mean, we're all working on a score. My scoreboard is my time with family. My scoreboard, it's still a board. It's like, oh, you work? That's silly. Like it's still a board, right?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Subconsciously, I'm still trying to prove something to somebody, but it's not like it used to be 5 years ago. It's changed, but I'm not gonna bullshit you and say, hey, I'm not trying to prove something.
I don't think it's trying to prove somebody. It's trying to like cement you're that motherfucker to the ones you already proved it to.
You're probably right. I mean, it's so here.
It's more like, not only did I tell you and you've seen it.
Yeah,
that was 6 years
it's
ago.
Another level.
Now, like,
I did it.
But that said, like, I feel like I'm still working on it. I feel like I'm a great husband. I
could all do more work.
Yeah, I can always get better. I have a niece and nephew that are like my own kids, but they're not my kids. And so, like, I have certain areas I'm working on spending more time with my parents. My wife talks to her parents like every day. I talk to mine maybe every 3 weeks, so maybe I should work on that. But I am doing the best I can for me, and I know there's certain areas I can improve on. But I will say what I'm super focused on more than most people I know is the success of the business, being very valuable in helping people grow their business, and also master my craft of acquiring equity in as many companies as possible and building portfolio value.
Your legacy is tied to you having success. And
yes.
So that's why you care about the business.
But I also, part of it is I want to show people what's possible if you actually commit to something. From a kid that grew up in a town of 700 people in Iowa, nobody heard of, you've been to before, to going out of that small town and then going after their dream. There's so many people in small towns that have that potential, but they just need to see a story like me to do it.
I'll say this. In my opinion, that sounds unbelievable because I feel what you just said to the core. My mother killed herself, my dad killed himself, and I want to show people that it doesn't matter. I use it as a positive. I'm a great dad, I'm a great husband, I'm a great this and that. Like, your excuses are a belief of self of your past, and it's this narrative that will block your future because you keep holding on to something that you actually can't even like speak to in exactness, instead of speaking the truth of the future because you don't believe in yourself enough. And I want to make content for that, even if it's free, even if it's whatever. What's going to happen is people are going to think I'm a scammer and I'm selling something else and this, whatever. And so with you too. And it's genuine as shit from both of us. I know that it is. Right?
It's real.
But like how it bothers me because like I go so over the top on like trying to be statistical and this and this. And it like doesn't hit as hard as if I bought a Lambo. And I'm like, that's like, fuck you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it hurts my soul sometimes with that. So how do you address that? And then second, just question on this. You get your billion. There is a what's next. How would you think of what's next? Because I have an idea that I would ask myself that I don't think you would ask yourself. But
I think on the Lambo question, and maybe this is answer it, like if you guys watch my social media, I wear the same thing every day. I don't showcase any of my material things
because you're trying to send a real message.
Yeah, like I don't care for that stuff. That's not, and it's fine with the people that do. That's just not my thing.
You don't want those people either.
I just want to.
He does need a pair of canes though.
Yeah, maybe I need
Please sponsor us. This is getting ridiculous.
But no, so that's who I am. But I wanted to show my authentic self. I never want to show up because years ago I've been doing social media just like you guys for over 10 years. When I started, I was a different kind of person. I would look at me, make 6 figures, make 7, do this, do that, and I'm like, dude, I'm not that. I don't need to. The less I talk, that means you actually have more to talk about.
We didn't know.
Yeah, nobody knew. And so going to the billion thing, for me, I have the privilege because of my business partner. I mean, people know me, but because of Kevin, infomercial and all that, like we get to talk to everyone. And so we get really cool opportunities. I love using my talents and abilities to help people that are doing things at the highest level to help them grow. And so when I get to the billion, I just want to work on more cool things. Maybe that's working on world problems and how can I provide insight and mastermind to help solve a problem that has nothing to do with money, but maybe saves lives. So it's always solving problems at a high level with really cool people that are cool, doing cool things, but also can sit around a circle and enjoy a conversation that's open and not like, I can't stand this conversation. I can't stand being by this person.
So that answers a lot of why you would want the billion, by the way.
Yep.
Because a lot of people want the billion and like, what's next? Like, I don't know, I want to achieve something else. You want to help more people.
I want to do more
You want
of
to
the same.
help more
things.
people, yes.
So the billion is your goal of like, here's who I know that I am and I want to meet that guy one day. And that's a number that I've assessed as like an achievement. After that, it goes, I've achieved that. What's next is like being important and making other people understand that they're important and giving.
Yes.
Right? And a lot like a normal person that like wants would never say that.
I believe in God, I believe in a
Same.
higher power, and I believe that we all are put here on earth
For a reason.
to make impact. And so I feel like my purpose is what I'm doing, and if I don't use my God-given talents, I'm actually doing a disservice to me and everybody around me. So how can I use that to the fullest potential? So one day when I do die or go in the AI system, that I can look back and be like, okay, I did everything I could. I don't want to waste it. And now, with that said, sometimes I feel like it's a struggle of me taking a vacation or a break because I could be doing something that's more powerful for the world versus me taking a break. You know what I mean?
But I want to like make people see this too, because you know, let's just say you don't get the billion.
Yeah.
You still changed a lot of lives. You still impacted
100%.
a lot of people.
Yeah.
Right. And so a lot of people say they want to help people, and they're like, I don't have money or I don't have this. They use everything as an excuse. I had a lady, I just spoke to like 500 people, and I was like, what do you do? She's like, oh, I make women feel confident. I was like, no, you don't. She's like, what do you mean? I was like, how many people have you done this for? She's like, oh, like not a lot, right? I was like, here's a switch. You make people feel strong to be financially secure, emotionally strong, and like specific in this and this vertical, so they can have confidence. You're selling something for them to gain that, right? And like you already know this play. A lot of people use that as like, oh, I want to help a lot of people, but I can't. I want to do this money, but I can't. And let's say you don't get the billion, you still made a ripple in so many people's
100%.
lives. And with the people that say, I want to help people, and they use excuses, what if you didn't go all the way to your best version, but you did the best you could, and everyone did that? What a change.
This is like when people say, when I have more money, I'm going to give more.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
It like money just emphasizes more of who you already are, whether
Or after
that's
this
good or
event,
bad.
I'll quit drinking. Or after this burger, I'll get lean. No, you won't.
Do it now.
Do it now.
Yeah, I think let's end on this. Is I think one of the things going back to like authenticity and why you do it is you always make it a point to not forget where you came from, and I think that is huge. So little town in Iowa, every year he brings people back to Iowa.
Just there.
I was literally just there, and he brings them on the Mississippi River. He shows him his friends from where he grew up. We go to the shittiest dive bars, literally of all time.
Right, fire.
So best thing though, you like walk to the bar. You're like, all right, I need 7 PBRs, 4 tequila cranberries, 6 rum and cokes, and she's like, that'll be $12, and you're like, I need to like.
I'd like to buy the bar.
And she takes your order for the drink, and then she goes back and cooks it.
And then she cooks food.
And then
so, but just like this idea of like what I love about what you do because of the authenticity, like you are doing it for like. You didn't forget about where you came from and these roots, and bringing people back into that. I'm impressed by it. Like, you know, and I've been to Iowa more times than I ever thought I would go to in my life because of it.
I went to Iowa once.
Or that you want to.
But I think that's a big part of it is that you haven't forgotten the small town. You haven't forgotten the people.
You can't forget where you came from.
Do you have to leave soon?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, let's 10 more minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like,
I know you're pushing,
wife, I gotta go.
She's like, you ordering pizza yet? I'm like, yeah, I'm on it.
Let's do this fast, just because you know a lot of people don't know, and let's kind of run it fast. What did you start doing? How did you make money?
Yeah. I met
'Cause it's
Greg
unbelievable.
Rollett. No,
No,
so
the
I
ice- the
started.
ice
So I
business.
started. I'll go quick. I started in the ice business as a kid. I sold frozen water for a living, packaged ice. Did that with my father, and we were delivering to convenience stores, bars. So nothing social media.
Right. You sold ice. You
Sold ice.
cold water.
Yeah, cold water to people.
And
Go
where
up the
did
door.
you take cold water?
We took it to gas stations, convenience stores, bars, restaurants, events, you name it, mom and pop stores. So did that, and then
how'd you end up being partners with a shark? from cold water, because I want to give them like,
Yeah.
oh, I can't, like, dude, you sold cold fucking water and ended up being partners with.
What's even better is you created a product
Yeah.
to,
Yeah,
to
you did.
sell more cold water.
So I invented a product called Arctic Stick to cool and flavor bottled beverages. Spent a lot of money and time and effort, launched on the market, never really made any money. Took it to Shark Tank casting call. They shut me down. I hired a consultant who did a deal with Kevin Harrington on Shark Tank. He became my mentor. One day, I sent a video, had a suit back then, back in my suit days, said, hey, Kevin Harrington, we have mutual connections, Cactus Jack Behringer. I had sent a mention to you, but I'd love to have you speak at one of my events. I hired him, he spoke at my event. So I kept doing the little things to build the door. And it's funny because he came to my event. One of the first deals we did together was a book and a mastermind called Put a Shark in Your Tank, which led to a product we did called Peeps that he knows about, went from $500,000 to $170 million in revenue. First big deal we did together. Now, since then, 10 years, I got equity in 40-some companies. We built a massive portfolio, and now we're scaling our whole holdings company. And I went from Iceman to inventor to pitching to now we're taking equity in deals every week. Products, companies like you're talking about.
A couple things that I want to bring this all full circle is you've never been shy or intimidated to send that initial email to Kevin. The other thing is, I think one of the things that I think is when you tell your story, you give yourself credit for this. The first event that you threw in Iowa,
You came, sure.
well, but it changed your life forever.
Yeah.
By
That's how
hosting
we
an
met.
event.
Because he's like, hey, let's do a TV show. I came to Florida.
I ended up sponsoring his event, and that's how we learned about. But it wasn't just me that was at that event.
Yeah.
Jeff Hoffman, who you became business partners with,
Yep.
was at that event.
Priceline.
Kevin was at that event,
Yep.
and you got to spend time and
Jeff's
bring
one of my best
people.
friends.
Yeah, he's awesome.
But like you brought all these people to Iowa. I don't think that if you didn't bring these people physically to Iowa, you would have done the deals
No.
that you've done over the last
I brought
decade.
him back to my home state.
You
Which
forced.
is crazy, right?
I somehow got Kevin to come to the middle of Iowa State Fairgrounds.
Yeah, I mean that event was nuts. I mean, he had Ken Shamrock there.
Ken Shamrock.
He
Little
had
small
John
stage.
Lee Dumas there.
Yep.
He had Jeff Hoffman, Kevin Harrington. Like it was insane, and all these people flew to freaking Iowa. But if you don't,
On a $72,000 total budget for the entire event.
But a great story.
but if you don't host, but like going back to it, get people in a room,
Yeah.
create content,
Just
that
like you're doing
creates
all
awareness, get people into a room, because I truly believe that if you don't have that event, your life looks totally different than
Yeah.
it does today.
You work at Waffle House.
Waffle House.
Delivering ice all Waffle House. Well, let's cheers to the end of this episode. Thank you guys so much. It was really cool bringing kind of some of my
Tres
best
Agaves
friends
for the
to,
tequila.
and Kane Footwear for the unofficial sponsorship. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
I hope you enjoyed this interview, and I hope to see you next week in our vlog. As always, like, follow, subscribe, and here's to your success.